Hello, it's your favourite Sly Guy, Dave here. Just checking in before the start of the podcast to say if you love listening to this podcast and you're craving for more, you can head over to patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast, where there is an entire library of other hasn't been seen in the public stuff that's a bit cheekier, a bit ruder, a bit naughtier. You get a bonus weekly podcast, which is up to 77 episodes now. We also have previous podcast series we've tried, such as the Serial Killing podcast, and currently we are balls deep in the Champions League of Weird. Ben, is it okay if I say balls deep, or is that kind of offensive? So for as little as £2 a month, you can be supporting the podcast. Anything we make from the Patreon goes directly into the podcast. So that will help me to help you get better content, and also help me get a better producer, and I can sack Ben.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to the Sly Guy podcast with me, your host, Dave Elliott. It's another day, it's another week. We're still living, we're still cranking, we're still grinding, we're still stand up 69ing, and isn't that right, Benny? Welcome to the podcast. I'm feeling good this week. I just feel like straight off the bat, I need to come out. And not like that, I'm not ready for that yet, but I need to come out and I need to sort of explain myself. And Ben, I need to apologise to you, and I've never once been sorry to you before, or I probably won't be after I said this, but I feel like I need to say it off the bat. Ben, I fucked up. Last week's podcast, I just didn't post on YouTube properly, so there just hadn't been a video podcast basically from last week's episode since, until I just did it like 2 days ago. So, sorry about that, Ben. All that hard work, all that editing, all that cutting, I just kind of didn't put it up. But that's belligerence, isn't it? That's why this is a Sly Guy podcast, because sometimes I just fucking do whatever I want. Sometimes I just be a piece of shit, and other times, I'm a reliable guy. This week I was a piece of shit. I fucked it. I also put up the wrong audio as well, and then had to delete that and re-upload it, so I lost a load of listens. But hey, listen, Ben, nobody died. Okay, so you can stop sitting over there with your little fucking smug face being all, I should have. No, I take responsibility. Like Akon, you can put the blame on me. Now, also in the style of Akon, I will carry on and somehow try to vindicate myself of any blame. Like Akon in that song says, listen, you can blame whoever you want. I'll take the blame, but also it was everyone else's fault. And yes, Ben, as producer, probably should be uploading the episodes every week, but he doesn't. So I just want to apologise in case any of the loyal listeners or Republican listeners, whoever are my listeners, think that something's gone wrong and I'm not here. I'm here. I'm back, baby. It's okay. Don't worry. Last week's podcast, which by the way I think was maybe one of the few episodes. Ben, do you know offhand if we have had any part ones and part twos of any episodes? Because I think that was Father Feces part 2 last week, basically, because there was more shit stories. And again, this week I potentially have more shit stories, but I just don't want this to become the Shit Guy podcast, so I'll maybe keep that to myself, because some people are like people enjoy the stories. Sometimes I think, this is something I don't know if I've said before. Obviously, by the way, I just want to come out and say, whilst I go slightly off track here, you know what number episode of podcast this has been? How many I have done of my solo?
70?
No, not of just the Sly Guy podcast, but of the Sly Guy podcast and Dave Elliott's Weird podcast. Because here's the thing. Dave Elliott's Weird podcast is very much like Wimbledon, the football team, Carries along for many years, then they became the MK Dons. Same team, same club, just different names. So as time went on, I realised the Dave Elliott's Weird podcast is a fucking atrocious name of a podcast. The logo on it was stupid. It had my full body on it. Just me standing there with really weird writing. Dave Elliott's Weird podcast. That was odd. I got a little sticker made for it, which, by the way, actually, I think I might have a copy of. See, Ben, can you see that? That's my other... Look at my other cover of my computer screen that I have. People are like, what are these logos? Sly Guy podcast, the best podcast of all. Boytown is something I used to do. Dave Elliott's Weird podcast. And then, believe it or not, just a Harvey Price sticker, because I bought some Harvey Price merch and he's my favourite celebrity. So that was the logo. of the Elliott Weird podcast, and then I realised this is not going to go anywhere. I need to change it, and now we have the Slag Eye podcast, so that's fine. So basically, what I'm saying is my solo podcast. You know how many episodes, Ben, we're sitting on right now? What episode this will be? Have a guess.
90 something.
No, you twat. It's 198. So we're 2 off basically my 200th solo podcast. 2, and you know what we're doing for it, Ben? We're doing a lot. No, we're not, because I only just realised this week that it was going to be 200 episodes in like 2 weeks. So what we'll probably do is come in here and just do another regular podcast. Or what I might do is say, Ben, you know, I might give you a wee bonus, maybe an extra. How's 350 sound? £3.50, not 353 pounds 50 for you to go back over every episode ever and make a highlights reel of everything, of all the podcasts. And you know, obviously Dave Elliott's Weird podcast didn't have video, so what I'm thinking is you could just like stop motion make a plasticine figure of me doing it, and then that's what we could do to celebrate 200th episode. But anyway, my point being is, aren't I great? And aren't I a really wonderful man to be out to give you these hours of entertainment? To be totally honest, I don't know where I got onto that from. That's what it was, me uploading things. But that's the point. You know, sometimes you forget. You go so far, you work so hard, and in the end, it doesn't even matter. As I think, I don't know, fucking Confucius or Mark Twain said. But that is where we're at, and I apologise for fucking up last week. But for episode 200, Ben, you've 2 weeks to think of something. If there's something we can do different or something we can do fun, you know, maybe we can do it. Maybe I should, I mean, I know what people would want to see. People would want to see me just scrap episode 200 and do like an episode of the Serial Killing It podcast, the Patreon podcast that everybody loves. Ben, what would you say? Like this podcast now, I'm still on 198 reviews for the Slag Eye podcast, Dave Elliott's Weird podcast, whatever. It's now Slag Eye. So David, you know what? It's dead naming. It's like calling my podcast Bruce Jet. No, it's Caitlin. I'm Caitlin now. I'm Caitlin. I love Caitlin. Fuck Bruce. That's where we're at. So what I think we should do for the episode 200 is just, you know, make a real song and dance about it somehow. Normally in the real world we would do a live podcast, but I have too many live shows. I'm doing stand up all the time now, and people would be like, "Oh, fuck this guy. I don't want to go and see him again." Don't wanna, fuck that. So I don't know. We'll figure out a way to maybe make it special, you know, and see what we can do if we figure that out, because we're still doing like so much other stuff with the Patreon content in the minute and the Champions League of Weird. That, Ben, how many hours a week are you working on top of your day job to do this Champions League of Weird?
Too many.
Too many. So like he's working, how many hours you work in your actual day job a week?
9 to 5.
9 to 5. All right, Dolly, relax. How many hours is that? Like 30 hours a week? 40 hours a week. So then say on top of that, what, 70 extra? Yeah, so like what I'm saying is you probably should pull a finger out, do a bit more. But it's going good. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And by the way, Ben, can I just ask you a question? Is there a big red mark on my head? My head's really sore right in the middle, and is there a big red mark on it?
No.
See, before we recorded, by the way, I'm letting people behind closed doors here. I'm letting them into the magic of podcasts. Before we started, I was recording something else, and I got so angry because I kept getting fucking lines wrong that I grabbed the mic and repeatedly banged myself in the head with it out of frustration. And I think I might have cracked my skull. You know, I've really hit hard because you see, the thing about this is the microphone actually underneath it's a full thing of metal. So, you know, I think I may be concussed and I'm not feeling all that good. Imagine I just died just on the podcast. Would you still upload it, I hope?
Yeah, but I'd wait to the hour mark and then pack up.
Oh, right, okay. But I mean, obviously if I were to die, you'd phone. Like, you keep the cameras rolling, get like ambulance and all come taking me away. But if I did die, would you post the episode and then just like make it a in memoriam of me?
Directly on the Patreon of it.
Nice. And do you know all the passwords to my Patreon, don't you? Fucking son of a bitch. Damn bastard. But I mean, yeah, it's fun. That's what we've been doing. I ballsed up last week. I'm sorry. Hopefully this week we'll be back to normality again. Now, I know a lot of listeners initially came on board with this podcast to get advice and insider info about like just me, the entertaining guy that I am. And a lot of people know that I'm a big fan of my garden, of gardening, of working in the garden. So much so that we actually had a troll account called, I think, the Angry Mowers Club, getting at me about lawn mowing. But guess what? Did I tell you that I met the Angry Mowers? Did I? Yeah, I fucking did at a gig. And you know what the Angry Mowers were? Just a little fruit. Just this guy, just a little dweeb guy. And I expected the Angry Mowers to be, just big fucking, just big bald men with like fucking earrings and replay jeans on and fucking knock your bollocks in or stuck you over or do something like that. But just this guy was just a young boy in like a oversized jumper, and he was drinking rosé. I was like, you're the one fucking giving me shit about my garden? Piece of shit. And that was the end of that. The Angry Mowers Club stopped giving it that. But anyway, I wasn't in my garden as much as I have been talking about doing the garden as much. And I know a lot of people have been annoyed at that, but fret not, for Davy Titsmarch was back in the garden again today. And guess what, Ben? It's a story I feel like, who's the guy that made The Hobbit? You'll obviously know that. Peter Jackson. I think it was him, Michael's uncle. He is like a nerd guy that likes really long, developed stories that like last 3.5 hours, isn't it?
The guy he wrote it, or the guy he...
No, J.J.R. Tolkien wrote it, didn't he? Or J.R.R. Tolkien, or J.J.R. Who gives a fuck? Mr. Tolkien wrote it, but Peter Jackson directed it, didn't he? So my point being, Peter Jackson likes long stories. He likes there to be a start, a middle that lasts maybe 3 hours. Then he sort of rounds it up at the end. He likes character development. He likes story arcs. He likes A, B, and C stories. Probably D, E, F, G stories as well, which I think was the book by Roald Dahl. But my point being, he doesn't just like it to go in a straight line. He likes there to be drama, curves, ups and downs, roundabouts, come back and land in a safe position. Why I'm saying this is because that's what happened today when I cut my garden. There were twists, there were tales, there were moments of emotion, despair, triumph, ultimately, with your hero. So it had been a while. Let's just say the grass hadn't been cut in probably, maybe over a month, Ben. I don't know, how often would you cut your garden as a dad man yourself? How often would you cut your garden?
During what month?
Just generally speaking. So, obviously during summer you don't need to do it as much because everybody knows the sun, the god of the sun, Apollo. I don't know. Look up tell me a sun god real quick. The god of the sun, Helios. Oh, Helios, of course. That's what I used to go to a sunbed shop in Lisburn Road called Helios, by the way, and that's what it is. I mean, what's the Apollo the god of? Please tell me sodomy, because that's my other secret hobby.
It's generally accepted nowadays to say that Apollo took Helios' title as a god of the sun.
Ben, the master of the skies, this guy, the king of knowledge, the super genius, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire champion in the making. Apollo, Helios is the god of the sun, but fuck that. Apollo came in and overthrew him. So this guy knows Greek mythology. Alright? So anyway, the sun affects the growth of the garden. You leave it for a bit. Now, what had happened, I'd probably left it too long. My garden was a little bit like, in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and the kids could go to the garden and it's like a big fucking jungle. That's what my garden was like. Now, the thing about that is I had sort of been procrastinating. Now, I've spoken before about my level of procrastination. There's been times whereby, I argued for a long time that I was the opposite of a procrastinator. I said like I was an efficient guy, wasn't distracted easily until my wife got me. Do you ever have that, Ben? Do you ever get just got and you can't argue something you've just been proven entirely wrong and you just have to go, is what it is. Now, I think I've said this in the podcast, so I'll not go deep into it, But the true story was, I remember I was sitting on this very laptop on the sofa beside my wife. I was complaining because I had some writing to do, I had some work I needed to do, and I was like, "Oh, I have so much work to do and I never get anywhere." And she was like, "That's because you procrastinate too much." And I went, just real angry, defensive. I was like, no, not angry because it sounds like I'm an aggressive sort of, an abusive husband. No, I just got defensive. I was like, "What are you talking? Me? How?" I was patronising her because obviously she is a very intelligent nurse. That's her job. She's a nurse. She's much more intelligent to me. She's much more practical than me. Her thinking's very practical. So I often play the sort of the whimsical creator. I like to be like, I'm an artist. I need to be in the mood to write. You just can't switch it on like a switch, darling. You need to be inspired. And I was like, I am not inspired. I cannot. I'm trying. I was like, I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to tune in. You just cannot turn creative on. You have to. Like, I remember once, a producer once told me, he goes, like, being a creative talent is like jacking off a dick. And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And he goes, you can't always come. You can stroke it, you can get it out, you can rub it a little bit, but ultimately, is Moby Dick gonna boke? Not necessarily. You need to have the right circumstances. You need to have the right mood. You need to be turned on. You need to have a full old sack. Everything needs to be in line for that creativity to just spurt out. All right. And obviously, since that analogy was made, said producer has now been cancelled. Okay. Good luck, Harvey. Hope prison doesn't hurt you too much. But what I was sort of saying was like, you can't just turn on. You need to be, and I'm trying to jerk this hypothetical cock of creativity, but it's not coming out. And my wife just went to me. She goes, "Dave, you're a procrastinator." Again, I was like, "Thou must not speak anymore. This is offensive." I nearly started to cry. And Catherine goes, "Dave, look at your screen." I went, "What?" She goes, "You're procrastinating. Look at your screen." And I just looked at my computer screen, and I was looking at the screen, and looking back at me was none other than former Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe. And you're probably like, it's not the weirdest thing of all to be on your computer screen. Maybe you were on BBC News. Google Images. I was in the middle of Google Images, 7 pages into Google Image, searching Robert Mugabe, just at that time to see what he was up to. Now, this was before he died. I did find out he was just hanging out in Singapore, just having a good time, being a rich man. But, to get 7 pages deep into Google Images was procrastinating. And in that moment, I put my hands up and I said, "Listen, I was wrong. Once again, it's twice I apologise in this podcast. Can you edit this, Ben? I do not want there to be two. Take it out." So my point being, sometimes, you have to do things. Sometimes I procrastinate. I leave the garden longer than it needed to be left. And I thought, right, today's the day. I need to just face it. It's like my goldfish. Need to clean my goldfish. Did them today. Took too long. Their wee bowls getting a wee bit dirty looking, and I felt bad because I killed one of my goldfish not that long ago, poor old Gaston, R.I.P. He's been replaced by a dude called Gaspard, which is sly because it's such a similar sounding name that your kids, think it's the same fish because they're only 3 in 1. But actually, it's a slight phonetic difference. Gaston, Gaspard. Easy to do. So I cleaned them. They're clean. Thought, what, I'll be productive, cut the grass. Finally, today's the day. So my garden's like a big fucking jungle. Catherine said to me, I was like, "Listen, have you seen any dog shit in the garden?" Because obviously if any of our dogs just out there, doing what he does. Normally nowadays he just does his morning shit and his evening shit. He's like an old man. In the morning he'll do a shit with a paper. In the evening before bed he'll do a shit. Normally both on his walks. And he does that with me. I pick it up, as a responsible dog owner, put it in the bag, and I just fuck it into people's back gardens. But I thought there's maybe 1 or 2 poos he might have just done in the garden. Now, the grass is so long, it's probably hard to see. Catherine goes to me, No. There's no shit out there. And I went, "I'll take your word for it. I'll trust you," because that's what being married's about, trust and a bond and reliance on the other person's information and their integrity. And that's what I did. So I went out, turned on the lawnmower, got it going, and started cutting the grass. Long. very long grass. I needed probably an actual lawnmower 4.0 to take that grass down. And within 5 minutes, I just started hearing my lawnmower make this noise. And then just what can only be described as a mushroom cloud of smoke erupted from the electric lawnmower. And then it just packed in basically. I thought this is the end now. I have actually had my lawnmower longer than I have known my wife, so that shows you that it's a trusty piece of apparatus. I have amended it over the years, like, you know, by fuckboys amend their cars, put a wee spoiler in the back of it, stuff like that. I have amended my lawnmower. Like, there's a lot of parcel tape around it keeping bits on. Little screws have been glued in, you know. It's like it's been amended by me, like I've proper over the years. So rather than just pack it in, I turned it upside down, unplugged it, and then just tried to like figure out what was wrong. And lo and behold, nothing could be done. I fixed what I could. I took the rotary blade off, I checked everything, reset it, punctured inside, just burnt out. The smell of burning, it was done. Very upsetting for me to lose that lawnmower. But again, the task was started, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm the sort of guy that I almost think I'm mentally unwell. You know, I think that there are certain things that I do that just, you know, they're probably, I guess, they're probably, you know, positive in some aspects, but also seriously mental in others. Like, if I start something, I will not rest until it's finished. You know, like, it's like, do you know in Gladiator, whenever Maximus vowed he would get vengeance for the murder of his wife and his son? That's what I'm like about just basic day-to-day tasks. You know, like if I started my garden, you know, I would be like, my name is David Robert Elliott, father of Holly and Matilda. I will cut my grass in this life or the next. And that was how I felt about this. So rather than just, you know, leave it and be like, listen, we'll get another day, I took myself off the home base via the dump, got rid of my old lawnmower, left it in there, cried, went to home base, got a new lawnmower, got it back. Wow, this baby was impressive. I very quickly moved on. But straight in, this new lawnmower, you can change, Ben, the settings on how long you want your grass. Have you ever heard of that before? Unbelievable. It's from, you know what it goes up to? 7. So I got at the long grass with a 7. You know, a few snakes in there, fucking hell, a few fucking cheeky wee bitches and all. A few mouthy wee fucking two-faced touts in there, fucking snakes and long grass and all. But cut it. Loved it, that was fine. Within a couple of minutes, I could smell shit. So obviously what had happened, I just blended up a couple of Vinnie's turds just in my brand new lawnmower. Wasn't happy about that. Then you only realised that there was shit in it. You know when you're scooping it into the bin and you're like, this grass is a little bit muddy and sticky. Full shit, and fucking raging about that. So obviously I've been lied to by my wife. Trust was broken. Don't know if it'll ever get back. You know, PM me for details. But that was fine. Had to clean away a lot of his shit. Had to put all his toys away. Get the grass cut. It was an arduous challenge, but I finally got it completed. The grass is cut. I did it myself. Despite being told there's no poo in the garden, there was lots of poos. Actually, after I shoveled the shit with my actual hands, I went into the house, got the poo bags, and did a recce around the garden just looking for poos, which is a very old man thing to do. Like, I was walking, like, you know, whenever you see crime scene investigators and they're like, there's lines of them just walking through fields looking for clues. I was walking my hands behind my back just looking for dog shit, scooping it up, tying it, and fucking into the neighbour's garden out of the way. But we eventually got there. We got the grass cut. It was a lot of fun. And see, having a new lawnmower that's bigger, heavier, with more chopping ability, you could really see the difference. And like I feel like my garden now is like a Premier League football ground. It is just fucking beautiful looking. It's an immaculate lawn. Obviously within 5 minutes of completing it, the dog was out digging holes in it because he's a piece of shit. But that felt good, and I felt, you know, vindicated. Got the new lawnmower, feeling good, grass cut, all's well in the world. Now, at the end of this, I truly did something that to me was just, you're an old man. You know, you are an old man. And it was a life hack that I want to share with you. Whenever I had to erect my new lawnmower, I had to follow the instructions. I'm a big keen guy for instructions. I like the instruction manuals. I like to see what's going on. I like to know where we're at. I like to work on things, whatever. So I got my instruction manual out and I thought, I'm throwing the box out. got to keep the instruction manual. Then I reached into my pocket just to try and find a pen. For some reason, I just like the mark instruction books. Do you ever do this, Ben? Just mark, even though it says on the front what it is, I just write in big writing what it's for. Because sometimes whenever you're like scooping through the drawer, you can't always see the image, or you need to. So I was just to write the right lawnmower on it. Didn't have a pen in my pocket, but you know what I did have? The receipt for said lawnmower. So without even thinking about it, just dad mode switched on. I got the receipt out, put it in the instruction manual, and put it in the man drawer. So now I know that if something goes wrong with my new lawnmower, which by the way it has actually broken already, but don't let Catherine know this, because whenever I was emptying the thing that holds the grass, I emptied it a bit vigorously and broke a little bit of plastic, so it doesn't fully connect as it should. But again, I'm not going to take it back because I want to amend it myself. I like to modify my lawnmowers. I like to soup them up. So I put that in there. So now if there's any problems, serious problems, I've got a 2-year warranty agreed on it. I've got my receipt and my instruction manual. So if anybody out there is looking some life hack tips, that's what you do. Legit life hack tips. Because I know Shane has been talking about life hacks before, like how to test if a piece of chicken is raw or not. He would open it up and touch it with his tongue, which is a pretty weird thing to do. But I don't want to be, a bald comedian taking Shane's stuff and making it my own and, profiting on it. So what I will do is not do weird life hacks. I'll just do good life hacks. So that's one life hack for me, is to put the receipts in the instruction manual. My second life hack, Ben, is to always keep a Stanley knife in your glove box in your car. You know why that is? Because if anyone fucking starts on you, you can cut their throat. Only joking, that's just silly. What it's actually for, and again, not everyone will have this luxury, because I know a lot of people live in like cities and stuff, and like aren't fortunate enough or well off enough to live by the sea like myself. If you crash into the ocean, you can cut seatbelts with it, you know what I mean? Just try and save people and break windows, so it's good to have the Stanley knife in there. Speaking of which, have you seen the video, Ben, this week online of the fight at Bangor Marina?
I've heard people shouting.
Yeah. Did you hear what they were shouting? Yeah. Tremendous. Now, people are on giving off about this. Can we play it? Let's get it up here.
Mate, you're literally having a boat, buy a house. Your boat costs 10,000. And my mum's house costs 750k. You fucking wanker.
I mean, what about that? You live in a boat, mate. Sensational. Now, to be fair, a 10k boat's nothing to be sniffed at, but I'd love to know the origin of that. See if you're the guy. If you're the guy, I know a lot of people are giving this dude jip, boasting that his mum's house costs 750k. Listen, I'm a fan of your work. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, please do. We'd love to get you on Zoom and just sort of find out a bit more about that story. The King of North Down's doors open for people like you. The guy in the 10k boat, don't bother getting in touch. You're fine. But the guy's mummy's house is 750k. Yes, that is brilliant. And what a North Down argument at Bangor Marina, where I walk my dog every day. Tremendous to see. Love to see it. That's superb. Ben, what do you think of that? It's your kind of guy as well.
Absolutely.
Hero, absolute hero. If maybe that's a t-shirt I should get made for myself, just not for merch, nothing. Just get a t-shirt saying my mum's house worth 750k. It'd be very, very enjoyable, certainly. So yes, my life hack number 2 is to have the Stanley knife in the glove box, just in case you go underwater and you need to cut people out of their seatbelts. And my third one, see if you're out walking your dog and he does a big shit and you don't have any poo bags, eat it. There you have it. There you go. That's some life hacks for you. That was a story of my garden escapades, and I'm feeling good. I've had no cats in the garden, Ben, since we got the wee cat repellers, and also probably the fact that I've got a giant dog out there now probably does the job as well. But it is what it is. I mean, Ben, I feel like I've been talking for way too long. What even time is it?
You've been talking for about half an hour. Half
an hour. Nice, guys. Listen, we'll just fire into the into the sponsors. I was going to do a message to the Taliban, but Ben tells me apparently we don't get many listens in Afghanistan. So by the way, guys, I still feel like I need to say this, because people are posting on social media and stuff. But can Taliban fucking knock in the head, would you? Come on, think properly. People don't like the way you're getting on. You're acting like bollockses. Let the people go to the airport. Let them leave, and it's like haters are going to hate regardless, Taliban. So what I'm saying to you guys is, just take the ones that love you and try to, build your wee regime and all, but be sound. Be sound. And, it'll be all right. And then if I do get any sort of, Afghanistan listens on this podcast, I'll shit myself. I'll be terrified. But, just knock it in the head. And a wee bit, I do feel like I need to call the Taliban out a bit too, Ben. I feel like those guys need to, think about the actual, the ramifications of their behaviour. You know why? Like, if I asked you, Ben, what do you think some of the impact or reaction to what the Taliban have done would be? Like, how do you think people would react to their actions? No, like, how do you think practically, how do you think some of the Taliban's actions, like, what responses do you think they would cause in people? Like, how do you think the Taliban's behaviour would cause people to react? What would people do following their behaviour? Violently leave, escape the country, emigrate, things like that. That's how you think that the Taliban's actions affect people sort of initially. But you know what the secondary problems the Taliban's behaviour are causing? I'm losing clothes. You know why? I got home from work the other day, went into my bedroom to find my lovely wife, Catherine, just putting loads of my clothes in the bin bags. I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, for the people in Afghanistan. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, the refugees and stuff are coming over here and they're going to need clothes. I was like, bitch, that's the Arsenal kit from this season. Take it out of it. Stop just giving my stuff away. She's like, oh, you don't wear this? I'm like, I just bought it yesterday. Of course I don't wear it. And also Arsenal are shit and I'm embarrassed, but that's not the point. Stop putting clothes that I wear in bags for refugees, please, with all due respect. And then she started putting stuff in. Now, I've been made fun of before. Whenever I was on holidays, one of my mates genuinely said to me, by the way, I spoke about him on the Tea With Me podcast with Shane, where I did say this guy just eats plain tuna. IDST, by the way, he does eat plain tuna, so fuck him. But he also mocked me by saying I only wear black t-shirts. He actually went to me, are you like Ricky Gervais or Steve Jobs? And I went, I wish I was like Ricky Gervais, because he's like my comedian idol, great writer, rich guy, inspiration. And I wish it was like Steve Jobs because he's dead. So yeah, I do wish I'd be like that. But he was like, oh yeah, was this a line of black t-shirts? And I was like, yeah, it's what I like. I like to wear black t-shirts. They're slimming, whatever. Get off my back. Catherine was just firing all these black t-shirts into bags for the refugees. And I was like, why are you doing that? She's like, yeah, I just think you've too many of them. I like them. And then, as always, this is the thing with wives. They like you to wear clothes that they think look good, but it's not what you want to wear. Now, if it was the other way around, if you imagine dressing your own wife in what you wanted them to wear, it would just be high heels and lingerie always. Maybe it'd be like reverse lingerie. Like I would just have, there'd be thongs, or the reverse thongs, which are just like the fabric that would be on the outside of a thong, which means there's nothing in the middle, so you can just see everything. It's like, probably, to be fair, the most obsolete underwear available. Just, if anything, it'll just rub in the wee bit that like your hip connects with your vag, but that's what I would have them wear. And my wife would just have me looking like a grown-up little boy who goes to church, like in a wee shirt, and a wee fucking pair of trousers, and a wee pair of brogues, and look at me, and I would not be comfortable. I'm comfortable in a black t-shirt and shorts. All right, and that's it. But my wife's giving all these to refugees, which, by the way, if you have a white shirt or a black shirt like I have, from a distance, my shirts look an awful lot like an ISIS flag. So what I'm saying is, don't be giving them away. Give them shit stuff to them, stuff they don't wear anymore, by all means. But at the same time, you're not going to get Afghanistani refugees that are my size. People be walking around looking like gangster rappers in my big double XL jobbies. Like, it'll not be a sweet look. So, Taliban, knock it in the head. Let people come back. Stop killing people. And also just let me keep my favourite clothes. Alright? You pricks. And by the way, you know who I think needs to go to Afghanistan? Gokwan. Because the Taliban have no fashion. They can't be wearing dresses and waistcoats and Nike Air Maxes and turbans and fucking sunglasses. Like, guys, pick a style and stick to it. You know, pick a style and stick to it. At least the UDA have a good style. The vests, the jeans, the IRA, the wee iron jumpers. You know, Taliban, yous are like a mixture of everything. Sort it out, yous look quick. And go and see a hairstylist as well, because your hair's all shit. Hey, Taliban, yous look stupid, yous are stupid. Fuck yous. There you go, that's enough about Taliban, Ben, okay? And by the way, if there's even one listening in Afghanistan here, take the podcast down. Take it down. And in fact, you know, guys, Taliban, I'm sorry for what I said last week. Joe Biden's wee dick, and I love yous. You know, there we go. Anyway, I digress. I mean, what a segue into the next section. The Sly Guy podcast is brought to you in association with Bebe Adrianos, a multi-award winning burrito bar on the high street in my hometown in Bangor. That's right, they don't sell you burritos out of a 10k boat, mate. No, they sell them out of their shop in the high street. You can get burritos, burrito bowls, fajitas, and if you're a physique guy like me, you can get salads as well. You can get any filling you want, basically, apart from stuff that tastes like shit. I mean, what a place. What a place. The trademark meals you have are their box meals. The trademark dirt box, which is just very tasty. We've tried that. It's half chips, half rice, chicken, chili con carne, beef, pulled pork, peppers, onions, tomato salsa, sweet corn salsa, and a cheese of your choice. And then, of course, the podcast favourite. If you're a listener to the Sly Guy podcast, you've heard me talk about the Dirty Cock and Cow box, which is marinated steak, Mexican chicken, fries, sweet potato fries, peppers, onions, tomato, corn salsa, lettuce, with a sauce of your choice. And you know what we go for here, Ben? You know, smoked paprika every time. So if you're looking 10% off, get the Bebe Adrianos bespoke app at the App Store or on the Android Store, wherever you get your apps. You get 10% off your first order if you get that app. Or if you just want to be old school, pick up the phone, dial 028 9147 9988. That's 028 9147 9988. Say Davey sent you. Say get your dirty cock in my mouth phrase, and just say you love it. Sly Guy Podcast is also brought to you in association with the Next Dimension ball shavers themselves, Manscaped. Wow, this Euro was pretty amazing, but there's a masterclass to get ready for the new season, and this is men's grooming. The Masters have done it again. They're winning the Player of the Month award, Manscaped, because they've just launched their 4th generation performance package. Included is their new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. Wow, this trimmer is unbelievable. You know what, Ben and I did something. We made a wee video exclusively for Patreon where we both tried to cut each other's ball bags with the Lawnmower 4.0. It was like we were doing some kind of fencing tournament, but we're just trying to cut our dicks and balls. I mean, it was a fun evening, wasn't it? It was a fun evening. You know, I tried to nick your balls, you got me. I was like, touche. But not a bit of blood was drawn. You know, not a bit of blood was drawn because the Lawnmower 4.0 is that accurate. It's that smooth. It's that clean. It can have your bollocks looking clean as a whistle. And I mean, Ben, this is a personal question. I'm sorry to bring it up in the podcast, but do you ever get a little bit of hair growing on your actual penis shaft? Around the base, not like in the midsection. Yeah. You know, like if it's just this like a fucking paintbrush, a bit weird, like a dog comes out like a lipstick and all. Like just a wee bit around the base. You know, a wee bit of base. You know, we're talking about Afghanistan. You got a bit of base. You don't need fucking pubes in your base camp. Get rid of them. Get rid of your pubes with the Lawnmower 4.0. This has got the ceramic blades. You can interchange the blades if one gets too old. You want a brand new one to keep it nice and fresh. You've got a wireless charger now. You don't even have to plug it in. This baby charges and you can charge on the go, and just it's got an LED light to see your dick and all in the dark. I mean, I would recommend you shave your balls with a bit of light on, but I mean, if you want to do it in the dark, like you're some kind of space pervert, you can do that. The Performance Package 4.0 includes a trimmer, the Weed Whacker, which is an ear and nose hair trimmer for old guys like me and Ben, as well as you get mixtures of formulations. So you get the ball deodorant, which I'm using at the minute because it's hot weather, it's clammy, and nobody wants a sticky ball bag. Like, you're not going to want to rim somebody when they lift a ball bag if there's a stinky winky there. No way. Keep it clean. There's also ball wipes. Ben uses them just to chill out before the start of the podcast. It is the shit. And if you want the most shaved ball bag in the country or in the universe, go over to manscaped.com, use the code SLYGUY. They get 20% off and free shipping. That's the code SLYGUY at manscaped.com. We love it. The Sly Guy podcast is also brought to you in association with Modest Beer, the independent brewery crafting small batch beers for discerning drinkers. Brewed and canned in Hollywood, County Down, Modest on a journey with one clear goal in mind: to bring exceptional brews to the local craft beer market. Modest have a few more tins that if I don't get delivered to me soon, I'm actually going to do an episode where I fuck Modest Beer out the window, because these tins are old. We want the new ones. We want the stout. We want the wee nice yellow one with a wee hint of lemon in it, and we want it now, alright, Modest? But if you want to know more about what I'm talking about here, go and check out Modest Beer at Modest Beer on all socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or go to their website www.modestbeer.co.uk to find your nearest stockist. Ben, do you know your nearest Modest stockist?
No.
It's me probably that I give it to you because they're sponsored podcast, but we'll not worry about it. Listeners' questions. In fact, fuck! I always forget to promote myself, don't I, Ben? On this stupid bastard podcast. Every podcast I go on, I forget to tell people about my shows. I have 2 shows now, Ben. Get this up here. I am doing 2 big shows from now until the end of the year. The big one, Ulster Hall, December 17th, with my new show, Pillowtalk. This is going to be the greatest experience of my comedic career. You want to be there for it. Tickets are moving very well for it. I'm excited. It's looking like it might sell out. My little bum is tingling. Because, to be fair, I pegged myself before I came here, so it's probably that. But also with excitement. So that's going to be a brand new show. Now, people might be like, what do you mean? Why are you doing 2 shows? I'm going to tell you why. I'm doing another show at the Limelight on the 19th of September. Just after my birthday. Like, what a great guy. Just after my birthday, I'm doing a show. And you're like, why should I go to see this show, Dave? And you don't have to pick. They're 2 entirely different shows. The show in the Limelight is almost the best of / material that's not going to go on the Pillow Talk. And you're going, why are you doing a show like that so soon before you do your big show at Ulster Hall? And I'm saying, baby, it's to make clips. It's to promote Ulster Hall. It's to try and get clips out there to show the best of me. You know, so get to that show if you want to be part of it. It's going to be filmed like a special, and it's going to be a really great time. There are, you know how many seats there are for the Limelight show, Ben? 7. And 6 of them are sold. So my point is, go to my social media, go to the wee link in the bio, and buy yourself a ticket, because I'm telling you, it'll sell out, and then people will be messaging me, oh, can you give me 2? No, because there's a pandemic, and we can't just fucking squeeze people in because you're my friends or my patrons or fucking whatever. You know what I mean, guys? We can't do that. So just go to my fucking socials, follow the page, get the show, get the tickets, get out of my face. There we go. Listeners' questions. Violent Mecca said, what's your Motorway service station meal of choice? Partial to a Burger King XL Bacon double cheeseburger myself. Currently eating one as I type. Well, what you're basically asking me in a roundabout way there, Mick, is what do I get when I'm in Apple Green? And the answer is either a Greg's, a Subway, or a Lavazza. Always a Lavazza, mostly a Greg's, sometimes a Subway. Never a Burger King, because I just don't really think. Here's the thing about Burger King: McDonald's is the supreme. Now people be like, oh no, Burger King's burgers are nicer. Oh yeah, that may be the case. The burgers might be nicer, but all the other shit you get in Burger King tastes like shit. You get shitty fucking chips that taste like oven chips. They're stinking. They're not fucking nice. They're bad texture. You can only get Pepsi. They don't have chocolate milkshakes. They're equivalent to McFlurries. It's kind of like saying like, oh, you could have a T-bone steak, or you could eat an Iceland crab stick. It just doesn't compare. Fuck Burger King. Don't fuck you, Mick. I was gonna say fuck Burger King, fuck you, but I don't mean that. Burger King's not for me. You go to a service station, you go to Greg's, you get 2 pasties, you get like So a chicken, a wee chicken. It's not pasty. It's a wee. What do they call it? Like wee squares. Pocket. I don't know. Fucking who cares? And you get a cheese and onion one. Okay. Then you go to Lavazza, get a wee motherfucking latte, and then go on your travels. That's what you do. Naomi has said once you see it, you can't unsee it, and she has sent me a photo of her in the nude. Wow. That's true. Once you see it, you can't. Only joking. That's not the case. She has sent me a perverted news story. Dun dun dun. There's a girl called Becca here on TikTok who said she got a guardian angel tattoo on her back, and I think it's safe to say, I mean, I don't really know. Yeah, right. Okay. It's meant to show her hugging her guardian angel, but it looks a little bit like, I mean, you know, I want to see what it's, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You need to get touched up ASAP. You know, I don't really know what it's supposed to look like. Believe it's much more X-rated. Let me see what, as long as you like it. As long as you like it, that's what really matters, love. Posting TikTok, Becca showed off was meant to be guardian angel. She explained the design was intended, but people realised the inking looked like a woman in a rather compromising position that many were unable to see. I don't see what they're doing here, Ben. Do you? Ah, yes, I see now. Okay, it looks like a woman eating someone's ass. There we go. There we go, Ben. Make sure you put that image up there. It looks like a woman possibly doing, I mean, some kind of rim position there, like perhaps a lie down 69 or something. Which, by the way, you know, that is a different kind of guardian angel love. Maybe that's what you want from your guardian angel. Maybe you think in life all you need from your guardian angel is just an arm around the shoulder, when maybe you need their face up your ass. You know, maybe that's what you need. You know, my guardian angel's my granny. You know, in many respects, she's up there looking out over me. Maybe she needs to just come down and eat my ass more. I don't know. That might that might help. Who knows? The ASAP podcast can go fuck themselves. All right. They've said just talk about Arsenal. No, I'm not going to do that. Bald Jimmy has said, do you think Arteta is shit? And who else would sacrifice himself? You know what? Arsenal are just the worst guys. The worst piece of shit guys. And they can just get fucked. And I hate Arsenal. Don't want to talk about it. And next week I'll be raging too because I get stuffed in Man City. Arteta needs sacked. The board needs sacked. I don't support Arsenal anymore. Fucking hate it. Peter Woods has said, oh wow. This is a good question. This is a question that makes me think. Peter Woods, if you went on Come Dine With Me, what 3 courses would you cook for your guests? Now, why this is a good question is because the answer that most people would go for is what their last meal would be. You know, what they would have. No, it's what you can cook and what your strengths are. So for me, I would cook probably a nice sort of soup, maybe. I maybe cook a seafood chowder. I reckon I can make a pretty killer seafood chowder. Then for main course, here's the thing. It has to be similar to what the seafood chowder is. It has to be, you know, something along those lines. I'd maybe go for like a nice piece of monkfish, a real seared monkfish with some nice roasted vegetables. I think that would be pretty nice. I pair it with a nice white wine, and then for dessert, I'll just stick it with a guardian angel, just my ass for them. Just get down, just eat it right out, like, and then, you know, maybe have a wee sorbet at the end, like cleanse your palate. But yeah, that's what I go for my 3 courses. And John Joe said, Davey, call me crazy, but hear me out. This hashtag sly swim. We get together a few sly hards on a weekly basis, and you charge them money for getting into Helen's Bay. What do you think? Now, what I like here is John Joe's getting at sea swimmers, who he knows I hate. But what he's saying is like a lot of these like trainer guys or like yoga instructor, swimmer people are basically charging people to go down and do stuff they could just do for free in the open space. Now, what I want to mention on that before I go off it, I realised this week that there's different types of ratings for the seawater in and around the North Down area, and the worst rating one off the worst rating is Helen's Bay. So that water's basically, you shouldn't be in it. All these sea swimmers are in it. I hope all their genitals fall off. I really do, truly, with all my heart. I hope they come. I hope in the future they end up like the Chernobyl people. I really do. I hate sea swimmers. Jay Red has said, I seen that by 2050 inner Belfast will be covered in water. Global warming. Are you worried about the influx to the Highlands and North Down? No, because I will take up arms and I will defend North Down. Like there are armaments all across North Down. We have the fort in Helens Bay. I'll go there and defend. I'll go to the moat, the top of the moat in Donegal. I'll go up there. There's armaments there. And then Bangor Castle, it's probably not the best defensive spot, to be fair. If anything, it's just a nice building. That's where I live, so I'll probably go there. But yeah, I mean, I think people listening to this podcast are just moving to Bangor. Ben, you've been a Bangor guy for how long have you been in Bangor?
8-9 years.
8 or 9. Where were you before Bangor?
Hollywood.
See, this is the route. This is the route of champions. When you say Hollywood to Bangor, that's my route. Both in terms of where I've lived and also what gets me going. The thought of just Hollywood and Bangor. Ooh, serious boner making capabilities. That, like, literally, if you're trying to turn me on, all you need to do is just show me the dual carriageway from Hollywood to Bangor. Oh, I fucking love it. Or the train, or just let me listen to some Foy Vance or Snow Patrol. Oh, I'm in heaven. But yeah, I think, the thing about it is, we will put up border checks, and no to a border in the RC, but yes to a border in North Down. And also, if there's, hey, see, to give you a news flash, guys who are giving off about the border, there already is one, because we don't have the same laws as there. So, bukkake yourselves. Darren McCormick has said, you can send one person out of your friend group to Afghanistan for a laugh or to sort it out. Who do you send? Now, I assume you mean my comedy friends, because you wouldn't just know my mates. Like, I'd just be like, send Macaulay, because he kind of looks like a Taliban guy and he's a bit of crack. But out of my comedy friends, I would say Kieran Bartlett. I think Kieran Bartlett would just be the funniest, because Kieran is a man after my own heart. He likes what he likes, and he just can't put up with certain kind of things. Like, we met for a coffee last week, and it was before I did a gig in the Hatfield, and he was like, let's meet in Botanic. I said, no problem. Go to Cafe Nero for a coffee. Normally we go to Cafe O when we're there, but apparently it was shut. So as we got there, he rang me. It's like, Cafe Nero shut. This is like 6 o'clock. We were like, what the fuck is this shut? And then he's like, right, I'm going to try somewhere else. So he went somewhere else. It too was shut. So I said, listen, Starbucks will be open. Go to Starbucks. It'll be fine. So I just parked on Botanic Avenue, and I could just see Kieran making his way to Starbucks. And he didn't know I was there, and I could see him. He was just by himself. He walked up the door of Starbucks. It too was closed. And I just saw him pull the handle, his hand slip off, and he just literally went like this. Fucking so raging. Like, no one else around, just pure rage. So annoyed. So I think you drop him in Afghanistan, he's just going to be like, he's trying to talk, say, mate, what the fuck, why are you doing this? And the Taliban be like, blah, blah, blah. By the way, probably offensive again. Any listeners to Afghanistan pull this. But yeah, I just think Kieran's disgust and frustration would be hilarious to witness with the Taliban. Are you surprised that rat-a-tat-tat Biden's pulled out of Afghanistan? Yeah, because he's got to go rat-a-tat-tat elsewhere. It wouldn't make sense for him to go rat-a-tat-tat in a place that actually needs a touch of rat-a-tat-tat. No, he'll be just fly into Iran every second. Tring, tring. Get yourself some fucking oil. Kish, cash, kosh. And last but not least, Michael Kerr. By the way, probably least, because last week's question was, what's your opinion on people homeworking? Everyone does it. It was a stupid question. You're better than that. Michael has said, hey Dave, you shot down my question last week. Proper order. This has caused me to think long and hard about this week's question. Therefore, what's your favourite sex position? Hilarious. I've said before, my favourite sex position is a 69. But unfortunately for me, You know, I mean, as a fat guy, you know, obviously, as a guy, you like getting sucked off. That's a winner. As a fat guy, I like to eat. So I mean, 2 and 2. That's a great position. Unfortunately for me, though, my wife's position is also a number, but it's a 96, which means she just sleeps top and toe facing away from me every night. So there you have it. That's my sex life. And there you have it for the podcast, guys. Ben, this has been a fun episode. It started slow. Didn't know where we were going. The journey of my lawnmower experience didn't go where I wanted it to, but we found our way around again. We're back where we want to be here with the Sly Guy podcast. We're too off sucking my own dick in the reviews, so if you want me to do that on the podcast by next week, rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Other than that, guys, enjoy your week. Come to see my stand-up shows. I'm gigging flat out at the minute. I'm loving it. I feel delighted to be back. And yes, fuck Arsenal. Fuck the Premier League. See you next week.
I'm the Sly Guy.